Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday and to the Quantum Human Revelations. How are you all doing after the equinox energies? So as always, I'm here with some on Zoom who are going to be sharing their comments through the Zoom comments and also those on YouTube. So let me know how your equinox experience has been. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been playing my meditation from last Friday, the soul and personality balancing for the equinox. So there's been quite a few people watching it and some watching it twice to really integrate it, which is fantastic. So that means that's a lot of people now who are starting to unlock themselves from their personality and to be able to create something new for themselves, which is kind of exciting. So I'm just going to check if anyone's on YouTube, then please give me a hello or something in the comments so I can see if I've got any comments up. Just trying to see if I can see anybody on there at the moment. And today we have a special guest, which is kind of exciting. A bit of a surprise for both of us. She wasn't sure. When she woke up this morning, she definitely didn't think she was going to be doing this. But she's being brave and bold and stepping into her soul-led vision. So she'll be joining us in a bit. But I just wanted to get us chatting first and to talk about how equinox was for us. And here we go again. I can't see comments. I don't know why it does this. Okay, so I might have to just check in a minute for the comments on YouTube because they're not showing up at the moment. So with the equinox energies, it's kind of perfectly timed now to move into the Aries full moon. So if you remember, I spoke about Pisces full moon, and Pisces full moon was when we kind of returned to the astral to be born again into the physical. Well, Aries then is the first step into the physical. And with what happened to us yesterday or over the weekend, because it's been a few days integrating, what you would have noticed is that you have recalibrated yourself to a point that you are basically new. And like we spoke about on the Pisces, this being reborn is like being a child again. This is kind of like starting life from a new perspective. So if you did the timeline exercise on the last Quantum Revelations, then you would have kind of jumped timelines where we said, whatever you wrote in the past, let's imagine that was all something different and start again and write a new story. And that's kind of where we're at now. And the thing is, it's interesting for me because one of the favorite questions I like to ask at this point is, how big can you dream? So each time we go through these iterations and open up a new part of us, we have to ask that question again, how big can you dream? Because at that point, what we're saying is that you've just removed some layers and constraints. You've removed some fear, you've removed some identities. So it's a great time to ask yourself, how big can I dream again? Because now you might see things differently. And to do that, we have to be quite creative. We have to tap into our creativity. We have to be out of the box thinking, which is basically all the stuff that we've spoken about since the beginning of this podcast. How to tap into your creativity, or how your creative energy is your abundance, how once you tap in and value that, you can then make it your the thing that you use to get money. And that's kind of where we're at. We've kind of done a complete circle back to starting now and going through those steps again to learn more about ourselves and step more into who we are supposed to be. And that's kind of exciting. It's kind of like being a different person and trying things differently. And to do that, you have to be that divine child, which is playful. The divine child knows how to make tents out of sheets. A divine child doesn't care about wearing clothes that don't suit them, or like wearing your mum's clothes or your mum's shoes or your dad's jacket. You know, they walk around proudly with anything on their backs as they act out and try out different experiences. And they don't really care about failure or fear of looking stupid because they're children. They don't know any different. So that's the kind of energy now that we're tapping into. And this is kind of also the unicorn energy, you know, this very light, playful, divine I am presence, your pureness of your essence. And that's where we're going to go for the next month. Hey, so hello, I've got Marta saying hello on YouTube, so I know that's working. And we've got Lisa. Hey, Lisa. And yes, Jenny's messaged me on Zoom, so that's all nicely settled in. So what does it mean now? Well, you have to start thinking about what will life look like if I was more soul-led? That's the question we kind of have to ask ourselves. And, you know, if you guys did the meditation on Friday, which is still there, it's still live, and you can try and do that again so you can kind of integrate what we did, because the first time you might fall asleep if the energies are a bit big, but as you replay it, it'll kind of just become more integrated as you do it. So as you tap into that, what would a soulful life look like? What would a meaningful life, because that's what it means to follow our soul, is a meaningful life. What would a meaningful life look like? So do you guys have any kind of new insights since the weekend on how things have changed and what it's all going to look like for you now? Have you had new insights about what you're going to be doing next? While you're all thinking about that, because that's a good question to ask yourself anyway, like we can sometimes be so busy we forget to check in what our insights are. So did you get any downloads over the weekend? Did you see anything? Did anything inspire you, light up your heart? Did anything kind of try and communicate with you where you needed to obey your soul a bit more? What came up for you guys over the weekend? So to give you an idea of what a soulful life looks like, or a soul-led life looks like, when I decided to do this work, I decided to give up the personality basically and follow my soul in 2020. And it led me to do this work more prominently than I'd been doing in the background for myself and privately for people up till then. But it took me out into a different aspect of what I was supposed to be doing. And I decided then that I was going to completely surrender to my soul and see where it took me. And I was quite surprised and pleasantly surprised at where I ended up. But to do that, I had to step away from fear, being a perfectionist, being in control of my life, because obviously I'd given over control. I was like, yeah, whatever comes up in a dream or a card, I'm going to do it, and step into that more. And there's a lightness that goes with that, a bit of fun that goes with that. So Lisa's saying, not sure I got downloads, but feel bolder. That's a download. That's a new frequency. Sometimes we think downloads have to be these kind of big stories in our heads of something amazing being told to us. But a new sense of being, a new feeling is a download. So bolder's good. Excellent. So one of the things I just wanted to touch on is that whilst I do this work with you on that video, you know, that's just the unlocking part. It's then up to you to maintain it, to keep it unlocked by not going back to your old habits. It's up to you now to start embodying it into an action that you can do every day, because it's not just simply the activation. It really is about tuning in so that you can make that your new everyday feeling. So for instance, with Lisa feeling bolder, how are you going to intend to make sure that you feel that feeling every day so you can strengthen it and hold it more? Because these feelings come in waves at the moment. In the beginning, it comes as waves, and we want it now to become static as our main new frequency. So Jenny said she saw a new cosmic flower. Excellent. That's the only problem with cosmic flowers, though, is you don't actually know what they mean because they haven't been defined yet, but that's your job. So I'm hoping you'll get emotions to go with each of your flowers too. Now, when we do this work, it's so easy to accidentally get stuck in the information. There's actually a beautiful chart in computing that shows how we take data right through into wisdom and insights. And the way that that pathway goes is about making connections and about understanding things on a higher level through each of the stages. So data is kind of like individual bits of information about you. Then those just start joining together and they start giving you information. And then from information, you start making up understandings around the way these things connect, which starts you going into wisdom. And what we're focusing on is that you heard me. Maybe some of you embodied it and felt it moving through your body. But when we were speaking about spiritual bypassing, you know, that for me, one of the things with spiritual bypassing is it goes into our heads, we understand it in our heads, but it hasn't gone into our bodies and it hasn't gone into our lives. And that can be a huge block because we think we know it at that point, but actually we don't know it. We just, well, our mind knows it, but we don't know the experience of it yet. So make sure you spend some time doing these exercises to embody it into your everyday, like checking in every day, recreating that feeling, asking yourself, if I make this decision today, is this the old me, my personality, or is this my soul and my more bolder version of myself? So yeah, so Lisa's saying she's going to show up and be more visible. And it's about even the small decisions about how you eat, how you speak to your friends, how you speak to your family. There's lots of little places that we can practice being bolder, that isn't just about showing up on video or being out there this extreme. So that's the embodiment aspect. And there's a difference in the way it feels. And Jenny's going to help us talk about that in a bit, because she's just had an experience with confidence. And I think it's better that we have that conversation with her to help you understand how this fits. So, oh yeah, Lisa saying cosmic flower, Jenny, very cool. Excellent. I think I've got all the chat coming through here. And yeah, so Jenny did know what our cosmic flower was. Our cosmic flower was for making, for being able to rest and rejuvenate. So these are frequencies. This is the way, you know, all our language is energy and frequency. So our cosmic flower is about frequencies. So I'm just going to check in with Jenny on the chat to see if she's ready to come on and join us. And if you are, you can just turn your camera on. Yeah, she's given us an okay, so she's going to join us now. So hello to Jenny.
Hello.
And we can hear you. Fantastic.
Oh,
so
good.
Jenny is the lady just said she's been downloaded as in cosmic flowers. So just to put a name to a face. So thank you, Jenny, for being so brave and bold and showing up today. And this all started because she messaged me to say there's some work we were doing on stepping more into a soul-led approach, like not having to prepare stuff in advance to get to do things, like today was not prepared. That is an exact example of being more soul-led than personality. So when I asked you earlier and I said to you, are you willing to talk for 5 minutes and 10 minutes? You actually did a body test. And what did your soul say? And what did your personality say?
So my soul said yes, and my personality said no.
So we've been playing with this. So the confidence part of what we were talking about earlier was something that you'd struggled with before. So how did you used to, like, you are obviously a working lady, you're out there already. So it's not like you had no confidence, that you were hiding in your bed with the sheets over your head. So how were you coping up until then?
So I was explaining that it felt like a plaster. So like, for example, when I went for an interview, I'd have to like literally put so much energy and effort into like psyching myself up to be able to do it. So like, for example, like doing power poses and affirmations, and I do like voice like exercises to try and open my throat, but like still when I get there my throat would be like completely dry and like struggle to get words out, and I'd have to think about everything beforehand and like write it down, and even then I still struggle to communicate it. So,
and that's a lot of us. A lot of us can probably align with that, because I've done the same. I used to have to, like, before I was following my soul, I would have things written out. I'd know exactly what I was going to say when I was going to say it. And moving more into a soulful approach is a lot different. So you kind of messaged me after to say that the work that we were doing last week on getting, because I'd given you a challenge at night. I told you that we were going to do a workshop, and a couple of people are going to get together and do a workshop. So I'll be promoting that soon. It's a way for us to practice who we are and getting used to being seen and heard. So as we were going to do that, it kind of triggered some of these confidence issues in it. And we wanted you to be able to be more confident. So we did a session to do this, plus all this soul personality stuff as well. And you had a meeting today, and you messaged me to say it went amazingly, you felt completely different. So what was the difference today after we did those sessions?
So the difference today was just like the feeling like it, I don't know if it's what you describe as like energy in versus energy out, but like, yeah, it wasn't like a plaster, it's just like, it just kind of came from within. I don't know how to describe it.
No, that's perfect, because that's what we're talking about. You know, the affirmations, the preparations, all that stuff was mind stuff. That was what your mind was creating to help you get through it. And after what we did, where we took it into the body, now that energy is inside you. And as I was trying to say earlier on when we were chatting about this before we came on, it's not about me teaching you confidence. Yeah, you didn't need a course in confidence. You didn't have to go on a course to learn what you've just learned this last weekend. That's not what we were doing. all we were doing was uncovering all the blocks that you had that were hiding your own inner confidence that your soul always knew you had. You know, your soul comes here bold and brave and it knows what it wants to do. And then the personality starts covering it up and putting these fear ideas around it, like you're not good enough. You've got to prepare in case you make a mistake. You're not going to be listened to, so you need to prepare your voice. You know, that's the kind of stuff you were dealing with. And when we stripped all that away, then you could just be more you.
Yeah.
And did you say, how did that make you feel afterwards? Like when you came back and you realized that it was almost effortless in what you did? You didn't have to do any preparation or anything?
It just feels really like liberating and freeing, and it doesn't feel like me. I'm like, who is this person? How am I doing this? It's like something I've struggled with my whole life. And I think last week when I messaged you, I was like in tears and it felt like I was never going to get over it. And now it's like, that was like, what, like Wednesday or Tuesday last week, and like it's only a few days and it's like complete transformation. It's like, yeah.
Excellent. Oh, I'm so glad, because these things, I say, once they come from the inside, they don't just unlock that one problem, they unlock a lot of other stuff too. So I'm excited to see how your workshop's going to come when we come to present that as well. So we were talking about, because one of the things we do is we try to anchor a feeling in. So like with Lisa saying she's bold, what we want to be able to do is say, how are you going to reconnect to that feeling every time you need it? So what was your feeling that you had to recreate?
So mine was warrior woman. Do you want me to show you my thing? So it's like, go like this, kind of feel the energy in between your wrists and then release it.
Now this is interesting, because we find like when we're learning something, like to if I was to give you a teaching, you would hear it. If I gave you a teaching like a story and you visualized it, you'd remember it even more. But did you know that when you come to do exams and things, one of the techniques they use in exams to help you remember something is to strike a pose?
Oh, no,
So
I didn't know.
when I was struggling with my physics a long time ago, then what I was told is do things like stand on one leg, hop, stand on your head, and recite whatever you're trying to remember at that time. So you put a physical action in with the concept of what you're trying to learn, and it works. You then remember standing on one leg, and this information just flows. So whilst it might feel like, I know you felt kind of silly doing that on camera, but that's what that is. And it's the same with hand positions, the mudras. We use mudras in yoga. And the same with any physical movement that we're doing. It helps us really bring that energy into an action that the body then gets on board with, which really anchors it deeper into your body. And you think about it, the New Zealand have the haka, and that's all about movements, and it builds up energy. And when we're doing the dancing with energy and we're kind of using body percussion, you could feel the energy in your body stimulating. And that's all we're doing with that is an energetic power action for you. And that's what's important, is that it came from you. That's what you saw. That's what your body needed for you to express. So how often have you been using that?
Every day.
In public?
I haven't really been out apart from my meeting. No, I didn't do it in my meeting.
And I think when I looked it up, because when she said she saw crossed arms, I looked it up to see if I could find any references to any kind of body, whether ancient hieroglyphs or whatever. And I actually came up with Wonder Woman, because she kind of did this with the bracelet. So I thought that was quite interesting. So Marta's saying, well done, amazing transformation. And Lisa saying, I want what you've got. Let's see what else we got on. Don't think anybody's chatting on Zoom at the moment. And Judy saying, when that bold, soulful feeling starts to waver, I want sugary food, then I know I need to reconnect. Yeah, so Judy notices that sugar starts dropping when we start losing connection to the soul feeling. That's an interesting insight, yeah. So again, it shows the body notices that soulful drop just as much as the mind, and our spirituality kind of meditations usually, I guess, is when you think to notice and check in on that. So yeah, sugary foods, interesting, cool. So Jenny, what would you say to somebody else that wanted more confidence? Like, let's say, like, before we started this work, where was your confidence on a scale to 1 to 100?
Let me body test it. 7%.
And where do you think you are now?
45%.
Wow. So the interesting thing about this is that you probably thought, well, did you think I knew you said you had a bit of an issue with confidence, but did you realize your issue was 7%, that low? Did you realize your confidence issue was that bad?
Yes and no. Like sometimes it felt really bad, but yeah, I probably wouldn't have said 7%, no.
And then with the techniques that you were using as the band-aids, that was helping you, because, affirmations and things like that are not embodiment. They're, again, like you said, the things you try to tell yourself. It's like a lie you're trying to tell yourself. And until you truly feel it and believe it, it's not integrated. So if you feel this good now at 45%, how good do you think you're going to feel at 100?
Who knows?
Invincible.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think there was something else we were going to talk about. Oh yeah, your body testing. So just if anybody's noticed, when Jenny mentioned body testing, we use that to help us translate some of the insights that we're getting. And that was quite a new skill for you as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I never, oh, sorry, yeah.
I was going to say, tell me about
it. Yeah, like I obviously you taught me about body testing, like I had no idea before, and then the reason I came to you in the first place was my health issues, and then so I've been struggling a lot with fatigue and other symptoms, and then like I've always tried to eat healthily, for example. That's where we always start with food, and then some I kind of realized from the body testing some things that I thought were healthy my body didn't necessarily want, and then so that's kind of where we start, how you teach us to start with food, like just pick up an apple and be like, okay, should I eat this apple today? But then now I use it for everything, like you just like those percentages I wouldn't have logically came up with that myself. So yeah.
And how's that? Do you think that's impacting your confidence as well?
Yeah, I think so. Like I think it's like it takes out all the guesswork, so it's like it takes out all the logic and the personality, so it's like just connecting to your body, and then like I can confidently eat this piece of chocolate because my body said yes to it rather than feeling bad about it, or like that's just a really basic example, but yeah.
How about like decisions? I remember we spoke about this once before about how your decision making has improved and how easier it is for you compared to how you used to make decisions.
Oh yeah, I always struggled with decisions. I was like the most indecisive person. So now it's just like so clear cut. It just makes it so simple and easy, and like really big decisions as well. Like I can't think of anything at the moment, but yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing. So has anybody got any questions for Jenny that you want to ask? So I've typed some questions in and I can share them with Jenny. So I think, this confidence aspect really is that soul coming on and revealing itself, because it wants you to shine. It wants you to be bigger. It wants you to do things that you were hiding behind your personality from. And now that we're removing that personality, it's really allowing you to step up more. So Marta's saying, yes, body testing is the best way to decide. Angela's saying that she notices when energy's coming in because she gets upper back ache, like toothache. Yeah, well, we all feel the energy's coming in too. Let's see, I'm not seeing anything else there. Is there anything else you'd like to add while we're waiting for questions?
I know we were talking in our conversation earlier about what I do instead. So I don't know if you wanted me to share that, or if that's too much information.
Yeah, I'm just checking the comments. Yes, please.
Yeah, so obviously we did the session, and then we had I don't know what you call that, not the mudra.
Yeah, we'll just call it a body anchor. We'll call it a body anchor.
Yeah, so I was doing that every day, and then listening to recording every day, and like listening to it while I go to sleep. So it's like really integrated. And then I pulled another card with one of my flower decks for like guidance for today, as well as my warrior women. So I put them both, like took a photo of them both, and then did the water drinking thing. I don't know if you want me to go into that. Or if that's
Oh
too
yeah,
much.
so we because everything is energy, then we use a technique where if we want to absorb the energy of something, we put a glass of water on it and then intend that the energy of a crystal or a pitcher or whatever's in it comes into the water, then we drink it. So that's a technique that we use for that as well. So these are all tools to help us visualize energy. You know, a lot of this can be done through intention on its own, but the tools just help a human brain cope with it better. So that's a cool way of doing it. But I think you're one of the few people that really spends a lot of time integrating stuff, aren't you? You're really keen on getting a handle on this because you're passionate about it as well, not just keen, you're really passionate about it. And I think that replaying, like I know a couple of people did replay Friday's meditation and found it different the second time. And it can be different, like you can play it 100 times and it'll be different every single time because each time you're inviting higher frequency of energy to come in. And I try to make my meditation so that that happens, that it's a cycle of bringing things in, then you just step up, step up, step up. So that's an amazing way to do that.
Yeah, and something else just came to me while you're speaking, and that's like when I did all the affirmations and power poses, like I could do it just about to get for an interview, and then next time I'd have to do it all again, and it felt like almost starting from scratch. Whereas now I can feel it like building within me, and like the more I do it, I can feel like it's just there. It's not like a temporary plaster or mask that I put on and then I can't sustain it.
And that's exhausting, isn't it? Putting those masks on, it's really exhausting.
Yeah, I used to always be exhausted afterwards and like have to sleep for the rest of the day because it's like just like yeah.
But obviously here you are today, and you just, was it today you had the meeting?
Yeah.
Look at you, you're all bubbly and bouncing.
Yeah, I know. I was a bit tired before this. I was like, oh, why did I agree to this? But now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing it.
This is your soul going, yay! She's showing up and being seen. Excellent. Let's see. So Lisa saying, love your transformation, Jenny. Marta saying, great sharing, Jenny. Yeah, I think that's everything. So yes, I think that was really well done because I know you're really nervous about it, but you're natural. That was really well articulated and shared. So I don't know what you have to worry about. Onwards and upwards, and let's push that 45% up to 100 and see you conquer the world, I think.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to just close up now. You can stay on the screen if you wish, but I'm just going to close up now because it's coming up to 12:30. Or if you want to take off and go, phew.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jenny. Thanks. So guys, I wanted Jenny to share that because, that's only a 3-day transformation. We've, obviously there's been lots of other things preparing for this. We've been removing lots of other stuff before we got to this particular problem, because the way it feels is that whatever problems we've got in our lives are the things are presented to us for us to be able to move through it. And for sure, if we work more from a soul level, it's a different lens to look at things through than the personality. So by the work that we were doing on Friday in that meditation, the aim was to try and basically remove the personality lens, or at least we asked it to work with us in a more proactive way rather than out of fear, and to support us and to be the part of us that was the part that was aware of how to make things happen in the 3D on a human level, whilst the soul was the kind of giving us the insights of what to do. And when we can get to that point, it really does feel very light and very easy to make decisions from. And it's not, it's been a few days for Jenny, but she does a lot of work. You heard her saying what she did in between, all the replays and reconnecting to the energy and constantly holding that energy and amplifying that energy until it's become her current habit, her current nature. So it's important that you guys do that too, because I think the biggest exercise you all can do now after that meditation is just notice when it's your soul talking to you and when it's your personality talking, and if you can use the body testing, just to allow your body to give you a yes by leaning forward and a no by going back, to say this is a personality statement or a limitation from your personality, and this is your soul. And just start tuning into that now, so you can start making your soul-led action your normal, a new normal for you all. So I think Judy mentioned about sugary foods when she's disconnected. So, there's lots of ways signs can show up to help you understand when you're slightly more focused on your personality than your soul. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight on embodiment and how quickly we can shift things once we step into new frequencies and new energies. Now, the meditation will stay there, but I'm sure at some point YouTube may actually start putting some ads in it. So do watch it before the ads get shoved into it. That's not my doing, it just happens naturally. And I just wanted to recap quickly on the energies of this month, because believe it or not, it's actually the end of September already. And next week we'll be doing the October energies and the Aries full moon energies. So really what we've been through this month is this. We started the month by saying we need to ask the personality to rest. And it's ended with the equinox actually allowing us to reprogram how our personality and soul work. And whatever the battle was that had been created from back in Egyptian, maybe even Atlantean times, whatever put that in motion was now dissolving and allowing us to be free from it. And when I look back at the year that we've had, we started the year with 2023 was going to be a year of no form. There was no theme to the year. It was basically down for us to write a new story. Then by February, I started getting the messages, end of an era. But it didn't end suddenly. It kind of went on for a little while. And now it feels like it's finally the beginning of the next era. So do something today that your future self will thank you for. And think about all the ways that you can start being a bit bolder in your life and start following your soul, obeying your soul, and learning how to do that. And as I said, you can always go back to the beginning of these of this podcast where some of that information is shared, and start being more in tune with your body and what your body is trying to share with you as well, so that you can feel these transformations, like Jenny said, going into the body, not just as a sticking plaster on top, which kind of fitted in with our spiritual bypassing conversation this month. So hopefully you'll all have a good week, and I'll see you next Monday for the October and Aries energies. And if anybody wants to join us for the Aries full moon workshop, which is on October 3rd, yeah, it is the third Tuesday, which is a week tomorrow, then do send me a message, and it's part of my membership. So if you join that, you're in the membership for a month and you get some access to some other tools, and you get a questionnaire about personality and soul. So remember I said Aries is about us leaving the ether, coming back down to the earth and starting to separate from source and start experiencing what it's like on the personality level. But on this iteration of the journey, we know now that we've already broken the battle part a little bit more. We've been more liberated from that. So this journey will be on a different energetic footprint that we'll be able to follow. And I feel like a lot of things that have happened this year have been about liberation. Liberation from linear time, liberation from karma, liberation from how we perceive our DNA and our bodies, how we perceive our power and our ability to hold more of our soul. All of these liberations are kind of opening the doors of your cages, but now it's about you stepping out and starting to create a new pathway for yourself. And the soul is the thing that's going to guide you to do that. So I hope you all made friends with your soul over the weekend. And October, yes, Large Martyr, October, here we come. What next, huh? So thank you all for joining me tonight, and I'll see you next Monday. Thanks, guys. Bye.